All right, how many people have heard about I Don't Know More? Everybody's aware of that. Great. So, I know, yay, 1,000 today. So, was raised by my grandparents in Alaska, and I come from a long line of activists and traditional people, culture bearers. So I was raised in this environment, raised by a very strict grandmother, and some of the work I did before I Don't Know More was I was the co-chair of the John T. Williams Organizing Committee and did a lot of work around that. I helped promote Native artists and protect the authentic art in the state of Washington. But I just wanted to, I was thinking about this the other day. Well, okay, we back up a bit. Last year, me and Carlo participated in an event here and about the Arctic drilling. And we did a prayer and meditation, and he asked me to come there and do a prayer. And so we did that day. And that day when we prayed, because that was the day when the ships were heading up to Alaska to drill there. And we said a prayer and a meditation, and I could feel the power of that. We called our ancestors. We prayed for the land, the seas, the glaciers, the polar bears. We prayed for the ships, all the people working on those, going up there to drill. But I could really feel Spirit moving in that day. And a lot of the work I do is in a spiritual way first, and it will help lay the foundation for the work, for this work we're doing here. And so as I see it, and when I'm praying for someone, I'm just shining light. I'm asking Creator to shine light down on them. And I'm not putting my intention other than just bringing light and love onto them. And whatever happens, to the way I would describe it best is as light and dark. And when those going up there to drill in Alaska, if they're doing things in a bad way, it all comes back to them because there's just pure light shining on them, the truth. And that's kind of what happened, is the way I see it. Everything that happened to them, nothing worked out. Their ships broke down, they ran ashore. I mean, they're not even going to be drilling into 14. They didn't even come back to Seattle. They went over to Japan for repairs. But clap your hands, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So this is some of the work. And so in February, Carlo asked about doing another prayer and meditation. He wanted to involve the Native community. And I said, well, you know, Carlo, Native people, I don't think they might come out just for a meditation. and that's good, meditation is good, but we have a different ways, as everybody does, has different ways. We pray with songs, you know. We have different, we come and share, and we dance, we sing. And so we started working on this, and pretty soon things get moving along. And everything I do, I pray about first. I pray and meditate every morning. I talk to elders and ask for their help and their guidance. And a lot of times things I say, they come to me as soon as I wake up. And what came to me was I heard of all this great work of Protect the Sacred, and that inspired me. I'm like, well, we need that here in Washington. We need that here. And so I decided to have this event to protect the sacred. And Uncle Phil and Reuben sent down Chief Darrell Bob and John Raymer and Teresa Bob, his wife, Benton Bob, to come down for that event. And at first, that first event, I wanted to only focus on spiritual work. That was the main purpose. I said, we need to do this, build this foundation first on our spiritual level, and then we'll continue doing the work. And so we had prayers and songs and ceremonies, and incorporated something that's been revived here in Washington, and I believe up north too, is a water blessing ceremonies. Because as we said, water is sacred. Everything has water. It comes from the heavens. It goes through all of us, all of life, all of it. And so this is what we incorporated into that day. And we asked our brothers and sisters to come from the Duwamish, Suquamish, and do a prayer and blessings that day. And everybody, what we did was everybody brings some water from their area or their territories. And we say a prayer over that. I always bring tobacco and make a tobacco offering and praying and thanking and praying for the water. And then everybody else can do it in their own way. They can say their own prayers and ask a blessing on that water. And then we pour those prayers into the water. We pour our prayers and our blessings. And each and everybody takes part in our ways. And so I continue to do this work. So that's how this all started, really, for me. I just wanted to acknowledge Carlo because I think if it wasn't for him asking me to take part in another event to do this, it all evolved into what I'm doing now. And I continue to do. And now I'm kind of like Miss I don't know more Washington. Everybody's calling me up for doing something here. But I also realized too the importance of building alliances, a bridge building. And I see the need for that here. And that's why I invited John Raymer of Compassionate Seattle, and Bill All, Tools for Change, and Bill Moyer from the Backbone Campaign to take part. And I'll continue to do that, and even some of you I might be inviting to my I don't know more events to speak or to share or to take part. And I invite you to come to those. And if you're on Facebook, and just go to my page here, and you can see the events going on in our area. And I would like to, some of the work we can continue. I see that has been started up there. We'll continue down here. And it's only gaining in momentum. It's only gaining in strength. One thing I've realized too is that our youth, that I need to include the youth. They're our next generation. They are our next generation of I don't know more. I went and spoke at a youth conference, a Clear Sky Native Council annual youth conference, and I told them that what we're doing here is setting the foundation that you're going to continue, that your children are going to continue, that this struggle has been going on for over 500 years, and now it's what it's called today is called I don't know more. And but I also see that what makes it different than other movements. You used to kind of irritate me a little. They used to compare it to Occupy. I don't know more. Well, I said, in a way it is, but it isn't. Because what we're doing is the spiritual part. And I used to go to some of the Occupy meetings. That's where I met Carlo and some of you. And I would we pray before we do events. We pray before our marches and rallies. That's how our traditional way is. We're asking for help and guidance. And so I continue to do that and incorporate in that all of the work. I mean, even with the John T. Williams work, we had great, awesome people working on that. But we always prayed together. Prayed for Ian Burke. We prayed for the Williams family. We even prayed over the prosecuting attorney too, and actually brushed him off. But I believe that's what made such a big change and difference, and brought the Department of Justice here, brought a lot of firsts that never happened before. So I'll share that story with them and let people know that's our strength. Our strength comes from our heart, comes from our spirit, and that's what touches and reaches out and continues. And through these prayers and blessings, these songs, that's what is helping to make the change. So with the kids, I asked Bill Moyer to help collaborate on a workshop, and we did a couple big giant banners, 25 foot by 8 foot, and had the kids make it. And I helped make a couple banners with the kids already, and bring those to our events. And also, I thought it would be good to incorporate them into it, and let's hear their voice. And so a young girl, Rose Gibbs, she spoke at the last event called I Matter. It was I Matter March for Earth Day. And I was so proud of her. You know, she stayed up till 12:30 that night, and I was like, "Are you nervous?" And normally she's really quiet and shy. Her teachers were just, "Wow, I can't believe she's going to get up and speak," you know. But it's kind of when we were getting ready or hanging out and waiting for stuff to start, she had her cousins and her brother there, and she was telling them what to do. And I think one of them said to her, "How come you're always so bossy?" And I told her, I said, "You know, that's a good sign." I said, "I was a bossy little girl too." So you're a future leader. That's a good quality. Just keep it up. Don't ever let anyone tell you. And I just encouraged her, you know, because it was just amazing. And so I'm going to continue doing some work. I just wanted to show you some pictures. But I Don't Know More is more than just about the environment. There's Violence Against Women's Act that was so important. There was, right now we're facing a problem here, this one picture with the kids. They're talking about tearing down this old Wilson Pacific, known to us natives as Indian Heritage School. These are built in the 1950s, and an amazing artist, Andrew Morrison, did all these paintings at no charge. And he calls it as a labor of love. And in his words, this is the words he spoke at the conference. "If these walls shall fall, I want the people to know that these murals meant something. They're a labor of love for our children. They represent a safe place. This is a place of learning. It represents freedom." And I got really emotional that day too, because he was speaking from his heart and the work he does for our children. And so I decided, well, yeah, let's have a light brigade. This is what the Backbone brings and helps facilitate. And I get the people there. And after that, we went to Gasworks Park and did a Protect the Sacred one and an I Don't Know More one too. But and this is to help bring awareness, raise awareness to others. I'm going to continue to do some more work around the murals, but I also find there's so many other impacts for our kids that they're facing here in Seattle, because there's talk of even cutting the Indian program totally, and recently the Head Start program at Daybreak Star was lost too. So yeah, we really need to stand strong for our youth, and they're standing up for themselves too. So I was glad to be a part of this, and really want to see more work done around this, bringing kids, incorporating, and not just the Native kids, bringing all kids together, you know. It's so important, it's so important. So this is one of the giant banners that we made, and the kids came up with themselves. We asked them, you know, what is important to them, and they would take turns raising their hands about what was important, and we talked about the environment, about tar sands, the coal trains, and what it meant to us, and what it's going to do to the, not just us, impact us and future generations, but to the world, you know, global warming. And it is global warming. I told them I'm from Alaska originally, and my people up there, they're having to relocate hundreds of villages. They're some of the first climate change refugees. And I said, it's going to hit down here. I talked to a good friend of mine, Christian White of Haida Gwaii, and he said they've lost over 100 yards of their coastline. And so I explained to the kids, you know, all this coal, all these changing in the environment, it's changing the weather, it's changing things. That's why we need to stand together for it and encourage them to speak up and to share and invite them. And the kids, when we have I Don't Know More events, it's a multi-generational. Elders, grandmas, the parents, the children, babies, we all participate. So it started here first with flash mobs in malls, as it had in Canada, and those are pretty awesome. We would go in and sing a song and a round dance, and then rally afterwards. And now it's evolving as most movements do, to focusing on different issues that we need to unite together in. And so I just invite each and every one of you to come to these events, participate, share. As we said, we all have gifts to offer. There's a lot of work to be done, as you know, and I would appreciate any help we can get with that. So I just thank you all for being here. I'm thankful for Uncle Phil for coming, and Reuben, and our uncle here, and cousins from their sacred territories to be with us today. And I just want to see what's going to happen next. It's really exciting to me. I think we live in a very exciting time, that we have the power to shift and change things and work in a good way. And some of the other work we'll be doing is as a result of the work, we had an event at Golden Gardens, did a prayer and blessings there, and I had some good words shared, songs were sung, and we had a round dance. But a young man, Eric Ross of the Backbone, called me later, and he said, so I know this as because I go on the canoe journey every year. I've been involved since 2002. Water is so powerful. The way I describe it is brings out things that we need to work on. So every year when I go on the canoe journey, I'll work on something else about myself. I'll pray about it, and as I run the journey, something else I may have to work on that year. And so this is what happened. Eric was describing to me. He said he feels like he brought up things he needed to work on. And for him, he felt bad. He said he felt bad what his ancestors did to my ancestors. And I really hadn't thought about that. Like I do work with historical trauma. And I hadn't thought about historical guilt or historical racism or historical oppression. And that those also are passed down too. And so I would like to invite and some of you, any of you who would be interested in doing some kind of healing workshop or a few days to talk to me when we have a chance and see what we can do, because I realized in doing this work, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to do our healing, do our work, so we can be strong to continue the work. And so I just thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, John, for bringing us together in a good way. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's change.